Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Director Breakdown. I have my main man Blake here, this first episode with us. Taylor Wheeler, whatever you want to call him, any name, he'll accept it. We're here to.
I don't accept any name.
You accept it. You know, he will submit very easily.
He's not true.
He's a bottom.
He's a bottom. We're here to dissect, break down a specific director. Tonight we have, as you can see, laid out in front of you, Christopher Nolan.
What is your favorite Christopher Nolan movie? So, my favorite Christopher Nolan movie is The Prestige, which I love, and it might be because of the magician aspect of it. So, popular Nolan actors in it include Michael Caine.
What? He's been in Nolan movies before? You're lying to me.
Prestige-wise, though, you see Michael Caine pop up. He does a great performance, as always.
He's very British.
Yes, always. As always. Michael Caine, British. Scarlett Johansson is in there as well. Looking good, being great, doing the assistant thing.
A while since I've seen this movie because I totally
really?
forgot she was in that movie.
You forgot Scarlett Johansson was in
Yeah,
there.
I did.
Like, my favorite stuff in this, though, is between Jackman and Bale, the two main guys for it. They give amazing performances, and Jackman as the guy who's like trying to figure out how Bale is doing everything he does, because Bale's doing the disappear and reappear act, and they're competing magicians, and I love that. I love the like almost mystery, and everything like that, and like it gets really crazy near the end of it, and like where Jackman's like cloning himself.
Yeah,
because he went to Tesla. It was
Tesla, yep.
But overall, the movie's just so well done, like as a kind of a mystery, and it hits that mind-blowing point. Well acted overall, and I'm a sucker for effects, so Nolan is actually one of my favorite guys because he is huge on practical effects. So every set, everything like that you're seeing, essentially Nolan's put there, and they're all working on at that moment, which I love. And I thought all the sets came together nicely for Prestige. Everything just came together well. And I like all of his other movies. There's not one that I can say is bad. But Prestige just stands out to me, and it has like a personal place in my heart.
Inception. It's still looked at as probably in the last, if you're going to start off this decade, the 2010s, it'll probably be looked at as a top 10 movie throughout it. I feel like it has the entertainment value. It definitely pulled in big numbers at the box office. As with all popular movies, you'll find mixed reviews critic-wise, but generally well received.
Right.
As Taylor mentioned, you see it in every Nolan movie. It's just jaw-dropping special effects. It's not so much watching a movie, it's being there, and they pull you right in. You forget you're sitting there. If you bought popcorn, you're not eating it. Not worth it at a Nolan movie.
Yeah.
Just sit down empty-handed, buckle up. That's what it's all about.
On the edge of your seat. Here we go.
And probably I think that at one point in time, you look at the ensemble cast type movies, they fail miserably, and I think this is one of those that is kind of turning the trend where you see a lot more ensemble cast movies. They do
really well,
and you see huge names. I mean the amount of sorry Leo, but there's a lot of gold in this movie, or future gold you could call it.
Well, yeah, I mean, this movie really started the career for Tom Hardy too, what I mean?
Yeah.
And pushed Joseph Gordon-Levitt in the direction that he's going now.
There's a lot of I believe Ellen Page is in it too.
Ellen Page, yeah.
And what's the Asian dude's name? I forget his name all the time.
Oh, Ken Watanabe?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a sauce.
That's great.
This little monologue at the end, he's talking about how they'll meet once again as old men.
Yep.
It's a really good movie. It's any movie that has open ends, but imagine a frayed circle where it connects, but there's tangents that fly off.
Yep.
A frayed circle, like a rope that is slightly broken, but still in a circle. I don't know. It's
like a perfect analogy for that movie, honestly.
Yeah, they do leave a lot of things. I mean, in any Nolan movie, I mean, maybe some of the more straightforward ones like the Batmans, where you really can't have a lot of plot holes. There exists plot holes in these movies, and you could do a 20-minute segment of like, well, that makes no sense. Well, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, he built a movie about living in a dream world, and it's completely different than what you would think and what we've seen before out of a dream world. I think he always does a good job of grounding his films. They feel very real, like, oh, if that could happen,
this is how it would
be. It could be like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you always get the sense of that's how it could be if it was actually real.
Definitely.
And then obviously, if you made another list, top 10, cliffhanger endings, the thimble spinning. Yep. I mean.
Is it real or is it? It was a.
Yeah, there's a little like
topper or something. Yeah.
At the end, there wasn't anybody that wasn't like black.
What?
And then everybody sat there. There's a scene.
I remember him seeing that for the first time. He got mad about it. He's like, really, that's the ending.
Pissed about that because I was like, seriously, you're gonna leave it like that? You know it.
But what an ending! Because look, I thought it came out 2 years ago. It's 5 years ago already. Yeah. I feel like I just went and watched it last week because I'll never forget the thimble, or the whatever you want to call it, the spinny thing. I thought they called it a thimble.
Yeah,
that might be. Just that scene, just one of the top, in my opinion. I can put it top 5, like movie endings. It's just.
Oh no, for sure.
It's just complete.
Especially with dealing with the subject that it was dealing with, it's hard not to be like, really. I'm gonna take the newest Christopher Nolan movie, and I'm gonna pick Interstellar. This one's not as well received as both. I think both your movies have higher ratings than this one.
Was Interstellar really not well received?
It's got, I think it's standing at like a 72-73% on Rotten Tomato right now.
Respectable, but not great.
Yeah, it's something like it's not. I don't think it's like fresh or whatever. I don't know how Rotten Tomato justifies what is and whatnot. 60 and up. I'll get to the movie. I mean, it's something that Christopher Nolan does in each and every one of his movies. It's a high concept movie that most people on paper will say you're crazy for even trying something like that. Like both of your movies would be considered that. But this one, I'm a sucker for space movies in general. Be it Moon, Star Wars movies, Sunshine. Obviously. Sunshine was a fantastic movie. So I'm a big...
Gravity?
I did like Gravity too, yes, yeah. So I'm a big sucker for... Yeah, I know. I'm a big sucker for space-related movies. I love... I feel like save for Matthew McConaughey's character in general actually being an astronaut, I can feel where he's coming from with wanting to explore and be out, like he's almost meant for out of this world, and that's where I become relatable with the character, and all of the everywhere from the score being I know me and Taylor were talking about this other way when he was watching it for the first time, and he was talking about how loud the movie was.
Yes. Because I was talking to him today.
Yeah. I
literally had to turn my TV up and down a good 50, 60 times.
Yeah.
It's immersive though. The orchestral swells.
It's
a wave.
It really is. And then I was explaining to him, it's like the score and the music in that film. Also with Inception too. It takes its own persona, and it's driving those emotions, and it is literally directing you on how to feel, when to feel. It's like, whew, I've never been hit with man, this score is literally just I got to take a second here. Like he's saying, you don't have time to do anything else when you're watching a movie like this. And obviously most of the flack and most of the ratings for this movie specifically come with its ending, a very, very controversial ending, but it's a Nolan movie, so we wouldn't have it any other way. But it's such a high concept ending. I won't try. Are we doing spoilers or no spoilers? What's the game plan here?
We did not say spoiler alert.
So no spoilers.
Anybody that waited 14 minutes would be disappointed at this point.
Yeah, so I'll try not spoiling as much as possibly can.
I did sort of spoil The Prestige, but that
movie's you definitely
it's 10 years old.
That's true.
I feel ruined Inception too.
Yeah.
Okay, spoiler alert. I'm gonna ruin this movie.
Spoiler alert for the newest one because the other ones are 5 years older.
Yeah.
So
they feel newer.
Yeah. They're old. But high concepts with third dimensions or fourth dimension dimensions and fifth dimensions like this movie has. It literally just blew me away. And actually, on first watching this movie, I was just kind of like, what did I just watch? It sat with me, and it was like, I don't know if I like this that much. You know what I mean? It's just because it's a cliffhanger ending. It's almost cliffhanger as not as crazy cliffhanger as Inception, but it gets there because it just leaves you with these characters. But it's like the overall arcing concepts of black holes and stuff like that. I actually made me look into this stuff and research a little bit after I saw the movie about they had their own scientists on the film with all these legitimate theories. These are real things that they're dealing with here that could possibly be real, and it's just such a high concept. And I've never had a movie make me feel like this movie has made me feel in the last couple of years. The second time I watch it, I'm just sitting here like this, I just saw it for the first time. You know what I mean? And I couldn't. I mean, I know Inception's close on there. Even working with all the Batman movies, yes, superhero movies are very common nowadays, but the way he did those movies, you have to give him props because he grounded them. Yeah, he grounded them so well and did them in his way. And as a writer-director, this guy, I feel like, especially after seeing Interstellar, Inception, this guy can do anything. He can make a movie about anything, and your emotions will be on a roller coaster. Huh?
The Monopoly movie?
Yeah. Really?
Ben Kingsley.
Oh, that would be great if he was. But I mean, that's just what's.
Michael Caine as the Monopoly man.
Perfect. That wouldn't be bad. But I think this movie and Interstellar really grasped what this guy can do with his filmmaking abilities. He takes things that could be just straightforward action movies, and he makes them next level with his writing abilities and with his overall directing abilities. And that's why I love Interstellar.
The Batmans really are, I don't know. I mean, everybody knows Nolan did them, and it was really like, hey, this is Nolan. If you haven't heard of him, he does movies. He's good. And I think because a lot of his movies are just so high concept, and they just I don't know what I'm watching. I watched it. It's just I don't know what happened. I'll figure it out later.
Even like me, you have to watch these movies more than once. It brings you back. You like Inception's high, like that. Even Prestige. I had to watch it
3 or 4
times. A couple times to get it.
Everything, and I'll be that person. I watched Interstellar last night.
Yeah.
For the first time because I put it off. It wasn't because I don't like Nolan. It wasn't because I don't like McConaughey or the concept. It was because it's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like a 3-hour movie, does it?
It did not feel like a 3-hour movie. The only reason that I knew it was 3 hours was, number one, I looked up the times beforehand. Number two, I would look over at a clock every now and then and be like,
oh,
what point am I in the movie?
Yeah.
But that was me last night watching it. I really enjoy Interstellar. I almost put Inception over it yet, but I think I have to watch Interstellar a second time.
Seriously, I caught so much more.
I
caught so much more the second time around. The whole bookshelf thing, the whole gravity concept in general with the movie was just what? Well, I kind of cheated too. I looked it up too, but
that's one of those movies where you finish it and you're just. You don't understand it. It's almost,
well, you really don't. I mean,
he doesn't dumb it down. He doesn't.
No, he doesn't. He just goes full force. He uses what he has at hand, and he just goes with it. And I think that's probably why he got some of the slack, or he got so much slack for the movie because he just, I'm doing this movie how I want to do it. This is crazy. I know, and I've watched interviews with him, and he's a big fan of space stuff like that. And he just wanted to do a movie that was just gonna be like this, never been done before. And I mean, going back to what Taylor says, the practical effects in that movie are insane. The robots all real except for a couple scenes.
Yes. I will say, because I'm a stickler for practical effects. For those who make just pure CG movies, it's not as fun for me. When I know something's real, when I can, practical effects to me make it feel real.
Definitely.
I can feel the movie better, and that's a good thing with Nolan, is he makes you feel his movies.
Yeah, he's very in depth. Costumes, I mean, we've had now a second review of a Joker in a short amount of time. But I think we all still remember, going back, it's got to be close to a decade already, when we first got pictures of Heath Ledger, and we're like, what happened to this smiley clown-like Joker? This guy looks like he crawled out of a burning building, and he smeared his face with the ashes of the people that died inside, And you're like, that's a character. He fleshed it out amazingly. And,
for sure.
And I know, that's just one of those characters, and obviously Ledger, passing away afterwards, as cemented that.
For sure.
It's literally like nobody will ever put that performance down, that character down. It's probably as close to a perfect character as I've seen in a movie. I mean,
it's the only superhero anything character-wise to win an Oscar.
Nolan, that's another thing too. It's called. Does he even call any of them Batman?
The first one, Batman
Begins.
It's such a weird trilogy because each movie has its own tempo and pace to it. They feel different from each other, and they're all good in their own right. Obviously, Dark Knight's probably most people's favorite.
Yeah.
Most people probably.
Where are we different on that? Because he's a Begins and I'm a Rises.
Yep.
You can make a case for all of them. They're all really good, but it's not about Batman's only in the third movie for like 20 minutes. It's like a 3-hour movie, and I guess that's fine. It's fine. I liked it.
I think he wanted it to be more about like A, this man, and then B, Bruce Wayne, this man, more so than Batman, and B, he wanted to be about the city. Gotham City was like the next most important character, and that's why people like Joker and all of his villains stand out in each movie, because he's a great character writer. He really is.
He really is, and he did something that the Iron Mans failed at, actually. Well, at least I think they failed at, which is trying to push more on the humanity of the person.
Yeah.
Because you can see it in like Iron Man 3. They're trying to push more of Stark, but Nolan does a much better job of putting Bruce Wayne out there than what
I couldn't
Black did with Tony Stark.
Yep.
It was just better comparing it to like the other trilogy, the other big superhero trilogy that's out there. The Nolan one is far superior in the characters. In every Nolan movie, all the side characters are amazingly well done.
They're very well fleshed out, and they're plotted in such a way that they're almost as important, if not more important, than the main characters, the protagonists and antagonists in the movie in general. Like, and that's something that sticks. Like what Blake said about Inception. It's not even just the concept. It's those characters he loves to go back to, and
It's stuff that he does well is these side characters like that, and I saw that in there. Tars was one of the most humane characters there was.
Who's fun.
Even compared to like Anne Hathaway's character, who was more of like the scientific type.
She was wooden in that movie. I didn't like Hathaway.
She was fine. She was annoying because essentially I think everybody blames her for the reason why they were on that planet for 23 years anyways. So it really was her fault.
It was because she McConaughey's yelling at her like, "Come on back, get back here. You need to come back now." And she's just like, I need to find this recorder.
Yeah, well, and I understand where she's coming from. I actually did like her concept and speech on love in the movie. Was pretty. It was kind of like at first when
monologue-y.
It was monologue-y, but I guess it didn't even matter that she delivered it. The concept that they threw in there, it was like, really, is that a cheap gimmick? But then it's again on my second view, and I was just like, I get it, I get that. That's why not, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or she was just being really, really selfish.
Yeah.
One of the two, probably the latter. But anyways, yeah.
So, with what Nolan does well, and going back to the practical effects thing, one thing I do have to mention is my favorite practical effect I've ever seen Nolan do on film is The Dark Knight Rises opening. The plane drop that he does. That's an actual real plane drop. He gets those skydivers to hook onto the plane. They pull it up. It's literally a fuselage sitting there. And they did a kind of an Inception style thing with the room so they could put the actors in there.
Yeah, they had a rotating room. Yeah. But still, like, the fact that they did that alone was insane.
And they dropped it. They literally dropped a plane out of the sky. Like, that's what Nolan does. Like, and in The Dark Knight, he actually flipped that friggin' semi. Like, he flipped the semi in there.
In Chicago, no biggie.
Yeah, we were talking a lot about how so many things that you see and they're like, wow, those look so realistic. They're real. I mean, the tumbler's real. The bat suit's real. Everything's real. I mean, I know comparing the Dark Knight series to Green Lantern, the one with Ryan Reynolds, is like, comparing a bountiful harvest of fruit to like a rotting banana on the ground. But they CGI'd the mask on Ryan Reynolds. How hard would it have been to get a mask to put over his eyes?
Or the suit in general.
Yeah, that movie, that's terrible. We'll never talk about it again.
I own it.
It's so bad. It doesn't even look fun to watch.
Something you don't usually see in his movies, you don't see a lot of light in his movies. Like, I'm not, like, tone light.
It's cool. It's a cool palette.
Yeah, like, it's...
I get that, yeah. No, I can see that. There's not a lot of light play, like, where movies take lighting and use it as a...
J.J. Abrams.
As a specific,
lens flares.
As a specific meaning and use to it. I get it. It's not a prominent point.
Yeah, most of his movies are very kind of darker palettes, everything like that, because, I mean, the Dark Knight trilogy, literally, in the name, it's all real dark palettes. There's nothing you see in there that's super vibrant and bright. Even the Joker's suit is like a kind of a dulled down, dingy suit to it. Like, I mean, it'd be something I would be interested in seeing him do is add more color. I'd like to see him.
You want to see a Nolan comedy then, huh?
Well, not necessarily Nolan comedy, but I'd like to see what he could do if he took what he knows about all of these movies here and threw it into a movie with more vibrant colors and see what he could do with maybe a little bit lighter side of a movie. Because all of his stuff is very mind-blowing and emotional and really dark for the most part. Because, I mean, I don't think there's many real bright spot endings to his stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they're all just dark movies in general. Like, I mean, they're all... The concepts aren't happy by any means.
Insomnia... detective dies at the end of it, which spoiler alert for a movie that, like, the second oldest movie he's done.
Literally half of them are dead in that.
Dark Knight stuff and like the whole Dark Knight trilogy is very like kind of downer. Even Inception, it's almost a bright spot, but he throws that like at you.
You know, if you just got up and clapped and left like 10 seconds earlier, you would have been a happy camper.
Like, it would have ended on such a bright note, like 10 seconds of that movie, and it would have ended on a bright note. But no, he's like, screw you guys.
Interstellar has promise for it to be a bright.
Sort of, but I mean, after all that time.
Saved. Yeah, that's after all that time, he missed his children's childhood.
But humanity is saved. And
they saved humanity and they made it better.
But like my whole thing with Interstellar is like I was waiting for McConaughey to get back to Murph and Casey Affleck. I don't remember the son's name.
They only say it like one time for every 10 Murphs. So it's not your
fault. But like it
that was they were trying for you not to remember Casey Affleck, right? That
I just remember the actor. But it doesn't really end on that much of a bright note. Yes, he's going off to find Anne Hathaway, but she's kind of alone on this planet.
Buried her fiance, so she's not in great spirits.
She's not in great spirits. Like he just essentially talked to his dying daughter, who's a good, like, sort of 50 years older than him.
Nope.
Something we really haven't talked much about, and I know we've all seen it, is Memento. We really haven't.
We forgot about Memento.
Yeah,
the
Memento.
Netflix find for all of us, probably. It was on there for a long time.
It was. Memento's a fantastic movie, and it really brings. I mean, it's his first major motion picture, but second film overall. Following was his first, which I don't think any of us have seen yet.
No.
It's just another movie like that's so larger than what you could think of for a movie to be, but it's still very grounded because it takes place. It's not a space epic. It's not a mind screw heist film.
Leonardo.
Yeah,
it's not magicians.
But it's just a guy who is he lost his memory, right?
He loses his memory every
so often.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact time, but isn't the film playing itself out in reverse? No, what's the gimmick for this movie? I forget.
No, I mean it's not really playing. Are you talking like the ending of it?
Yeah.
You find out that he's already found the killer before, and it's
that's right.
Is it Joe Padagliano?
Yep, it is. Yeah.
Is the friend in there? He's actually just been kind of finding new people for him to like track down, essentially.
Yep.
So I mean, it almost makes Joe Padagliano's character in there terrible because he's finding new people for this dude to kill.
Yep.
Just to make up for what's happened in his life.
Yep.
So
it's super well done, and it's it just gets pushed under the radar probably in comparison to the rest of his films.
Well, because all of the rest of his films are so epic,
yeah.
I would say, and that's not really as epic as what a lot of them are.
That might be Nolan's, and you mentioned before you'd like to see a movie with a brighter color palette, something not so dreary and down to earth, but maybe Nolan doesn't do that movie. I feel like Nolan's one and only weakness is he gets big budget, does huge movies, and we were talking that every one of his movies is almost like his brainchild. He doesn't do movies like, oh, I feel like doing sequels. He doesn't do sequels. No, he does one. I love people that just do a oneer and they just pound it out and they don't tell you anymore.
I mean, even like you were saying before, the Dark Knight trilogy feels. It works as individual films. Plus, there's an overarching story to them, but they do work. They do work alone. All in all, he is. The guy likes to dream big or think big, and he really captures his concepts his brother's his main writer. So the concepts that they come up with together are
I believe
Interstellar, dude.
I think he did an amazing job with something that was almost out of his range at the time in a way.
Because he hadn't done a space movie.
No. Yeah, he hadn't done because it's such a. Most of his movies are in such a smaller scale. Even Inception, you're essentially in a person's mind. Yeah. And he just went from going in somebody's mind to space.
And not even just space our galaxy, but other galaxies. Yeah, and literally
other dimensions, everything like that.
He went big time on it. But I think, you liked Interstellar, right?
I mean, it's been a popular topic this episode, but it was good. It's probably because I think I saw it maybe 3 months ago. It was one of those movies that
freshest one in all of our minds.
I shouldn't have seen it, at my house on the couch. I should have went out and paid money to go see it in the theater. I feel like it could have been better. But then again,
it paid off.
But then again, I feel like there are two types of movies that are good, but only one of them can go into a theater, and that's sort of one more along the lines of Inception, where you connect with the story. But in a theater, you almost want to watch movies that are more safe because you don't want to watch something you get too in because if it's a busy theater and even though it's dark, you feel vulnerable. And,
I can hear that.
And with that movie, I didn't cry. I cried, but I didn't cry during Interstellar. But I almost did, and I don't know if I would have been able to just let it go and just be in that movie if I was in a theater. And,
for sure.
So, most of the movies, are definitely worth a theater watch.
Something also that he does, kind of an extra little thing here, is he gets amazing performances out of his actors.
He has amazing actors, though.
Amazing actors.
He doesn't cheap.
One of the best villains came out of the first Batman in Liam Neeson's as Ra's al Ghul.
You're telling me Kent Watanabe wasn't Ra's al Ghul the whole time?
No, it was the Liam Neeson's.
The Liam Neeson's, plural.
No, he does an amazing job, and I love Dark Knight Rises, but I'd almost put Ra's as my top villain. He did such a good job. Nolan did such an amazing job directing everything, and he got such a great performance out of Neeson. And it was just so well done overall.
For sure.
So overall, we've talked about his movies, everything like that. We've talked about what he does best and some of his weaknesses.
You may have just, as you talk, I think I thought of another one. I feel like he does struggle to do a female character. Very strong male character in development.
I could see that, honestly.
I feel like a lot of his... I made the comment earlier that Anne Hathaway felt wooden, and that just may be because she is made of wood. But
I could see that. No, honestly, like I'm trying to say, wasn't it Hilary Swank that was in Insomnia, right?
She really.
Well, I don't really care about Hilary
Pacino
Swank
and
much,
Robin Williams definitely overshadow her, and even characters. Martin Donovan, who you would remember as the bad dude from Ant-Man.
Oh, really? That's him. Okay.
Not the first Yellow Jacket, but the old dude. Yep. He's in there. But Hilary Swank doesn't stand out. Katie Holmes doesn't stand out.
She doesn't come back.
Yeah. Maggie Gyllenhaal doesn't stand out to me. I don't remember who the girl was in Memento.
It's Carrie-Anne Moss.
Is it Carrie-Anne Moss?
Yeah, Carrie-Anne Moss. Yeah, from
Inception. I'm not a Ellen Page person in general.
Yeah, I feel like if there was one that stood out the most, it would probably be her.
Yeah, because Scarlett Johansson was a back there.
And generic.
Marielle Cordell, I can't pronounce her name, but the chick that played his wife.
Cotillard.
Yeah, she's pretty good in it, actually. She does a good job, even though she
was also in The Dark Knight.
Yeah, that's true. She was in Dark Knight.
Yeah, she was Talia.
She was Talia. Yeah.
One Anne Hathaway was in Dark Knight Rises as well.
Yeah, but nobody cares because he's Anne Hathaway.
I'm alright with Anne Hathaway, but
I don't mind Anne Hathaway.
But I don't think those characters stood out compared to the rest of the cast.
No,
like he was saying, it was not very strong women characters.
Murph,
if you look
at right women, I don't.
What about Murph? Interstellar. We're going back to that.
Yeah, generic Bryce Dallas Howard did well, but.
Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, generic.
Do you believe Christopher Nolan?
Uh-oh.
Suspense.
Statement.
And then we'll end it right there. That's it. Bye.
We don't have the thing to spin, so...
Do you think he deserves to be considered as an iconic director?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
including like with the likes, because I mean, iconic directors. You think about it: Scorsese, Spielberg, Kubrick. Those are like the three of the hugest ones.
I was gonna say you literally just said the name of the person who I think he most resembles. Maybe
Kubrick?
Not Kubrick.
Yep.
Didn't do a lot of movies. Was selective, but when he did a movie,
it stood out.
Yeah. He did I don't even think he did that many movies, but
probably about 10 movies.
You could draw a lot of similarities between 2001: A Space Odyssey
and Interstellar. Oh, definitely. I completely agree.
Very.
I mean, it's just, I mean, iconic is, it's a word that's thrown around a lot, but it's almost like you have to look at the work, because you look at all of his movies, right? None of them are by any means considered bad movies. Most of them are considered just advances in the art. The Batman trilogy is arguably one of the critically best movies, comic book movies of all time. Interstellar is one of the most complex.
Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance.
All right, sorry, second best movies of all time. Yeah.
Dear God.
And it just goes back to just how these movies stand up. How movies stand the test of time, really, and how his legacy stands the test of time. And I think, I would completely consider him iconic, because, I mean, we could probably talk for another 40-50 minutes about his movies alone, because we really only scratched the surface on a couple of them.
Yeah.
But and that really what justifies somebody to be that level. I mean, an iconic director is almost in the eye of the beholder, or essentially the masses. So
I think another thing that will cement him there is, with the exceptions of the Batmans, because that's not his property, a lot of his other standalone movies, even though there won't be many of them, for the most part, he's probably one of the only directors that's out there pushing, for the most part, original movies, original ideas. And that's something that Kubrick did. And
that's very true.
You know, Clockwork Orange is one of my favorite movies of all time. It came out almost 50 years ago.
Probably.
And I know it. I mean, I wasn't alive, but I watched it, and I know it. And I feel like, you know, Inception and Interstellar and other movies, Memento, people will know them. They're not going to get remade. There's no sequels, but the people will know them.
Absolutely. Completely.
As far as it goes, I'm on the cusp here, because I almost want to consider him an iconic director, but I don't know if I've seen enough from him yet.
He's young.
Yeah, he's young. And that's my thing, is he's still young, and there's still a lot of time to go, and guaranteed there's not a bad movie in his bunch for me. But I don't know if I can push him to iconic status yet.
But, I mean, iconic, how long does it take for someone to become iconic? Because if you compare him to directors nowadays, who is there that stands out other than Christopher Nolan? Like, he is
Tarantino.
Okay.
Abrams is going to be
Abrams, I feel like Abrams would be, trust me, I love Abrams. You can tell by my Lost box set over there. But, but I feel like he would be, what Taylor's saying about Nolan is he's going to be eventually iconic. But it's just like, I mean, you think of modern directors nowadays, say for Scorsese, I mean, Scorsese's not really chiming out a whole lot nowadays compared to what he was back in the 80s and 90s. But you think Nolan and Quentin Tarantino. Like, seriously, if somebody, if we weren't even doing an episode, you say name the top 3 best directors of all time. Honestly, I think I would say Nolan before Quentin Tarantino, because Quentin Tarantino is more selective of his movies than anyone that I know of.
He does his movies are all just, it's like, oh, well, what setting are we going to watch people die violently?
Yeah. That's true. So
great dialogue, though. That's what
for sure.
Tarantino.
For sure.
So I think over time, I think he will become iconic. I just can't. He's on that fence right now, and I think one more movie and I could shove him over into the other side.
I think he's on. I don't think. I'm already going to put him at status.
I would say too.
Majority rules, I guess.
Yeah, so, Taylor, you're voted off the island.
I'm off the island.
This is Taylor's last episode now, so everybody. That's how we work this. You get overruled. No.
It's like the Hunger Games.
Yeah. Except a little bit more
die?
civil. No, you just actually have to walk home. Blake, it's your call.